and talking about your special, which released on Prime, Amazon Prime Video,
Yeah, it's available
October.
now. It's available
Mhm,
now.
go on and watch, y'all. I know y'all
Yeah,
subscribe to Prime.
watch it.
Hijabs off. Why that title? Without giving away everything, why that title, and what does it summarize, or what does it encapsulate for you?
Yeah, hijabs off is quite literal on one part of it because I am a Muslim woman and I don't wear hijab. And so it's just literal.
It's off.
Also, I just
Yeah.
um, also I just wanted to like create space. Like one of my favorite jokes on it's an early joke on a special is a lot of people say that I'm not Muslim because I don't wear hijab, and I say, well, this is a wig, so technically, my hair is
It
covered.
is.
You know
It
what I'm
is.
saying?
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you know and and so I really wanted to create space for all of the different Muslim women identities. There's so many of us that are very proud Muslim women, and how we present that is very different, and I think that there's space for all of it, and nobody owns a faith. And then the last thing, it's just a pun. When you tell, they don't say it anymore, but people used to say hats off, and hats off was a compliment. Hats off was, you did well, I'm proud of you, congratulations, I take my hat off to you because you did something so great. And that was my way of kind of like, you know doing like a play on words. My
I love
friend
it.
Muhammad, he actually dared me. He was like, I dare you to name it hijabs off.
Why? Why was that
Eh,
so? Why was that so controversial?
well, um I mean, there's certain regions where the special isn't available because they wanted me to change the title. So,
Mm.
if you feel a certain way, if you're one of those people that are like, you're not Muslim, you don't cover your hair, then you're probably one of those people that feel like hijabs off is, in Islam we call it haram, like, speaking bad against the religion or against God. Um, and so he was like, I dare you to do it. And when I did it, he when the announcement came out, he was the first one to call me. He was like,
I can't. I was kidding. I didn't. I was kidding. I didn't know you were really going to do it. I didn't mean to dare you.
I was like, wait, did you not think he was like, I mean, it's a fantastic title, but I didn't think you would go through with it. And I'm like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I love that. I really do love that. Okay, how do you feel,
Yeah.
in all candidness, about speaking about what's happening in the Middle East?
I don't feel great about it because I don't, well, what I can say with, no question is that it's awful.
Yeah.
Um, but I do feel like most people want you to take a side. And because people want you to take a side, it doesn't matter what you say, you'll be attacked.
Hmm.
Like, I don't, especially when it first happened, I didn't even feel like I had enough information to speak on it.
Hmm.
So I would repost things from people who I felt like were adequately informed and educated of those specific backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? Like very close to you, that region, and that, like, I mean literal ties to the people there, on both sides, and the education, the knowledge that, like, they've been talking about it. I thought that I was doing a good job of posting adequate, fair, objective, but still very solid and respectful and empathetic uh, posts. And still, I received, you know, um, pretty disrespectful messages and pretty unreasonable requests. So I've decided, one night I got on stage after being cursed out a couple of times via my DMs, and I got on stage at the Laugh Factory in LA, and I was like, if I say I feel bad for Palestinians, then, my Jewish fans are going to be like, you asshole, shut the F up. And if I say I feel bad for, people in Israel, then, my Muslim fans are going to be like, astaghfirullah. And so now we just talking about titties tonight. We only talking
Yeah,
about titties.
for sure. It's the safest thing to discuss. right about
So,
now. It is. Yes, for sure. For sure. You
you
know,
know,
that was fair of you. And I do feel like I was reading an article today in the Hollywood Reporter, and Brian Stetler was saying, was writing rather, that
mhm,
they want reporters to take a side, and you can't report the information without seeming like you're taking a side. And right
mhm,
now, for me, it's a war on misinformation. I don't know what to believe. I
mm,
don't know. Everything is so extreme. I know what to believe. I know death is wrong. The killing of innocent people is completely wrong. That's the one thing I can tell you right now. But you're right. We
yeah.
can't take a side. But I would like to ask you, as a Muslim, do you feel that oftentimes there is a quiet and then other times a not so quiet ism towards you when people find out?
Oh, there's definitely, I think it's overt. I think if you go, um, one, I do want to acknowledge that sometimes we see a lot of hate, but the positive always outweighs it. You know, like when I think about all of the Muslim, both men and women, that come to me and tell me how funny I am, how much they feel seen, like I don't want that to go unnoticed. But if you
Good.
look under any post, any joke where I mention that I am Muslim, if you look
Mm,
under it, you're going to see I'm called the N word a good amount of
mm,
times. You're going to
mm,
see that someone is saying that I don't have any, it's like, they're going to judge me like, oh, look at her. Like, I mean, it's the very reason why I named my special Hijabs Off. It's the very reason why I have to bring levity to that. It's the very reason why I have to write jokes about it. So yeah, I mean, racism and sexism, like any prejudice exists. It doesn't. I tell a wonderful joke in my special. Forgive me but I tell a wonderful, wonderful
keep
joke
talking about your
about.
special. That's the whole point. This is the we're promoting the special.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
mean, it's because I do an act out on this special. It's so funny when I watch it. It just when I did it in the moment, it surprised me. But I grew up in Harlem, which is like in New York, one of the black meccas. I would even say in this country, at one point. And I grew up in the masjid and surrounded by Muslims. And so I just thought we were all Muslims. I knew Sunni Muslims. I knew Nation of Islam Muslims. I knew Somalian Muslims. I knew Senegalese Muslims. I knew Arab Muslims. I knew Black Muslims. I knew white Muslims. So I just thought we are Muslims. That is what we are, right? Then 9/11 happened, and I learned the word Islamophobia, I was a teenager, I learned the word Islamophobia, and I'm like, oh, okay, the world's not messing with Muslims now. And so I need to like stay inside. I need to protect myself. And I was right there. I'm in the city where this horrific thing happened. And I remember my friend called me and was like, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Like, did your father put you on punishment or something? And I'm like, no, it's like they hate Muslims, so I got to stay inside for a little while. And she was like, girl, you black.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I was outside jumping double dutch.
We good. Yeah, you black.
So but
Yeah.
I do like to bring attention to that, because in the United States specifically, the growth of Muslims in the United States is attributed to African Americans. It's attributed to Black people. It's not because a bunch of Arabs or Indians or Asian, like it's not because so many of them are coming over. And no, 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 no. It's because there's a growing number of Black
Mhm.
Americans who are, one, at some point in my history, we've converted, and now we're birthing kids and teaching our kids this faith. You know?
Was that the case for you? Your mother and your father were Muslim, or you became
Yeah.
Muslim on your own? Yeah.
No, my mother and father were Muslim. They were both born Christian, and then they converted, and then they had Muslim. They raised us. We were born and raised Muslim.
I love the story of, for someone who grew up on the other side of the world. Literally, California seems like another world. Growing up in
Yeah.
Pasadena, you know where that is, like another side of the world.
Yeah.
For you to describe Harlem as Black Mecca, and in this country, in this world, right? It is a
Yeah.
beautiful space, and for your experience to only feel like it was only us, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
That is a beautiful experience, and then we realize sooner than later that's not the case. Do you find that you must use your platform to talk about who you are in this space, a Black Muslim woman, working in a world that doesn't necessarily know you in an intimate way, but knows you from what you share?
Yeah, I think it's necessary. Mm, Maybe necessary isn't the word, but I would feel like I wasted the time in the space if I did not share who I am, because I often watch things inter I, when I was a kid, I did not have one representation of a Black Muslim woman on TV until I saw the movie Malcolm X. And then I saw his
Mm.
wife. And so I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even really see Muslim women, but if by off chance you catch an episode of Law and Order and they got a quote unquote terrorist episode, then you might see an Arab Muslim woman, right?
Mm.
But other
Mm.
than that, I did had no representation, nothing to aspire to, you know? Nothing. I love a different world. I absolutely love a different world. If I rewrote a different world right now, I would give them a Black Muslim character on the show that wasn't a trope, that wasn't selling bean pies and, do you get what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
acting hotepi, somebody who is just like their other characters, but also is of this faith, And so I feel like because I didn't have that, who am I to come out here, take up this space, work so hard to take up space, create a space, and not make it so that someone like me has someone to look to?
Absolutely.
It just seems pointless if I'm not doing that.
I agree, and I'm glad that you're doing it in such a beautiful, elegant way. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But I'm plastic plate. Where's the plate? We're gonna take a collection for you and the preaching. Hijab Talk, people can watch it now. I know that you touch on so many various things, but I think it's important, and I wanted to highlight um, what is special about you. And there are so many things, but I do believe we should honor you as a Muslim woman and what you are doing. And I don't want there to be
Yeah,
any phobias around that. I think your success is a testament to the fact that we have to learn eventually that we all are the
yeah.
same, no matter how much we want to feel like we're different. And when is the strike over? Do you got any inside information on that? Can you tell me when it's
I don't
over?
have it. I don't have any inside information on when the SAG strike is over, but I it's like I do want it. I'm sure we all want it to end, because we'd love to get back to work. We'd love to know what's happening with our lives in the world of film and television, right? We'd love to know that. I'd love to see new things. I mean, there's not. I mean, it's great. It's great for my comedy album because it's like there's not a lot of new stuff coming out. My comedy special,
Mhm.
um, but you don't go on strike for nothing.
That's
And
right.
so, we have to come out of this feeling like the sacrifice was not for no reason.